Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Now, we know about the impact of COVID. We know how this is decimating the economy. We know this is causing unemployment. We know this is causing us to not be able to pay our bills. But I want to introduce you in this video to a more serious problem that nobody has talked about. And it's the problem of what I call the new permanent unemployed. Yeah, the new permanent unemployed. Here's the problem. Baby boomers, women with children, low wage workers, specifically individuals, African American individuals, Hispanic individuals. This pandemic has pushed nearly 4 million of our fellow Americans out of the labor market. And in other words, these are individuals who are simply out of the workforce, and I'll tell you why in this video. And many economists fear that their jobs will probably never come back. In other words, those individuals may not come back to the workforce. I want our viewers to understand something. In an economy, when people work, they make money, they are productive. When they make money, they spend money. The more individuals that work, the more the transactions that take place. Because, if you're working, you're probably driving, you're probably going to stop by somewhere to get a cup of coffee, you're going to maybe order takeout, you're going to do other things, you're probably going to end up spending more money. When you work, you boost the economy. And economy is a function of two things. Number one, the number of transactions. Number two, the size of the transactions. So when you spend more, you're creating more transactions. When you buy more expensive stuff, you're creating bigger transactions. If 4 million of our fellow Americans who were previously in the workforce are now no longer in the workforce, that will have a detrimental effect on the economy, and that will have a detrimental effect on the lives of the individuals who are now the new permanent unemployed. In this brand new article that you see on your screen from the Wall Street Journal, here's the title of the article: COVID shrinks the labor market, pushing out women and baby boomers. Nearly 4 million Americans have stopped working or looking for jobs. Now, don't jump to conclusions and say, oh, why are they stopping to work? There are reasons. I'll get into that in this video. But I want you to understand that when less people work, it slows down the economy and it creates a ripple effect for the family, the friends, the relatives, the co-workers. Well, they're no co-workers because they're no longer in the workforce, but it creates a ripple effect through the lives of millions of other people who are directly connected to these 4 million individuals. So here's the number. The US labor force is 2.2% smaller than it was back at the start of the year, which is a loss of 3.7 million jobs. Almost 4 million individuals are no longer in the workforce. They're not even looking for jobs because of this pandemic. Because this pandemic has created a situation where individuals simply can't work. I'll give you one simple example. Let's say you have a mother who's taking care of 2 young kids. Let's say she's a single mother. And by the way, single moms with younger children under the age of 8, 9, and 10, they've been disproportionately impacted. Now, what happens if you go to work and you, let's say, had your kids at let's say your kids were being seen in a daycare or something like that. You had a caretaker, but now because of the pandemic, the daycare is closed. The caretaker doesn't want to come over. What's the mom going to do? The mom's essentially going to stop working so she can look after her kids. This is just one example. Remember, life is very complex. Each one of us has our own set of problems. I mean, honestly, we don't want to worry about the government on top of that, right? But unfortunately, we have to because Congress hasn't gotten their act together. But my point is, we need to understand and empathize with different situations faced by our fellow Americans. So the situation we have, and by the way, I just gave you one example. There are many such situations. Maybe you're a caretaker for someone who's elderly. Maybe there are other situations like maybe your business went completely out of business. So there are many situations, and I've mentioned this before. Individuals in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality. These are the individuals who have significantly been impacted. The labor force participation rate is the share of Americans that are age 16 and over working or seeking work. Now, keep in mind, this was 63.4% at the start of the year. Okay. Now, in October, as recently as October, the labor force participation rate dropped from 63.4% down to 61.7%. So you can see how low it was. And this, by the way, basically indicates that far fewer women and baby boomers are now in the workforce. In other words, they've dropped out of the workforce permanently. Here's a quote on your screen from Betsy Stevenson, who's an economics professor at the University of Michigan, and she was referring to how the economy can rebound back. She said, and I quote, "If we don't get all the workers back, we can never have a V-shaped recovery." Everybody should be worried about making sure that we don't leave workers behind. On your screen, you'll see a chart that represents the lost ground. The pandemic has essentially evaporated, decimated gains in the labor market, gains in labor force participation that basically accumulated over decades. You see this chart going from 1980 all the way through 2020. So this chart represents gains in the labor market over 40 years. And you can see what happened in 2020. In fact, let's move the chart. Let's start from the year 2000 and let's start to move. And you'll see that the darker portion represents individuals who are 16 and up. And I'm moving now through 2004, 2005. I'm starting to move. And you can start to see that those who are aged 16 and up in the darker blue portion were essentially starting to contribute more and more. Then, they started to you'll start to see that after the 2008-2009 crisis, individuals who were aged 16 and up and individuals who were aged between 25 and 54, their labor force participation actually dropped down. In other words, they worked less and less. But over the last few years, in 2016, the labor force participation, specifically for those aged 25 to 54, was starting to go up. You'll see the chart as I move from 2015 through 2020, and you'll see that big dip that actually took place at the start of the year in March, April 2020, a massive dip. So something that took 4 or 5 years to build up was gone in a matter of months. Here's another chart on your screen that shows you the retirement boom. Baby boomers left the labor force in higher numbers this year. Here's on your chart, you'll see the annual increase in the number of retired baby boomers. And look at that number for 2022. We're talking 3.21 million baby boomers, and if we go back to as recently as 2015, that was 2.45 million. So baby boomers are dropping out of the workforce. And here's an interesting comment from the Wall Street Journal. Unlike previous recessions, this one is making it especially difficult for parents, women in particular, to work because of school closures and the loss of childcare. Participation has fallen much more for prime age women than men, meaning, women who can work. Prime age women, generally women between the age of 25 to 54, from a working perspective. That's a definition as far as the Wall Street is concerned. Participation has fallen much more for prime age women than men, and even more among those with parents. Among mothers in this group with children under 13 years old, it plunged 3.4 percentage points between February and October, while dropping 1.4 for prime age fathers. What does that mean? That means women have been impacted more than men. Simple as that. And this compares with a 1.2 percentage point decline among prime age adults without younger children. In other words, women, specifically mothers of younger children, are dropping out of the workforce faster than any other age group, faster than any other gender group in the country. According to the Wall Street Journal article, one of the biggest risks to the labor force is a phenomenon called scarring. That unemployment permanently hobbles the ability of some people to find work, especially those with less education. On your screen, you'll see a chart that demonstrates the uneven impact. Black working mothers have seen their labor supply reduced the most. On your screen, you'll see a chart that shows you the change in the share of the US population aged 25 to 54 working or looking for work from February, start of the year, up to the most recent numbers that we have for October 2020. You'll see that black women had a substantial impact. Hispanic women were next in line, followed by white women, followed by black men, followed by white men, and followed by Hispanic men. And you'll also see the breakdown for those with kids and without kids. In short, let's try and understand who suffered the most. Let's keep this chart on your screen right now, the uneven impact chart. Black women with young kids suffered the most, followed by Hispanic women with young kids, followed by white women with young kids. In fact, black women with young kids had a negative 6.7 percentage point impact as far as unemployment was concerned. Hispanic women, negative 3.6%. White women, negative 2.5%. Black men, negative 2.1%. White men, negative 1.2%, and Hispanic men, negative 1%. Just astonishing. By the way, this is data from the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. And what I find the most shocking is this. Research by a team of economists at the University of Chicago, the Federal Reserve, and automatic data processing that were analyzing data found that individual companies laid off their lowest wage workers and they kept their highest earning employees. In other words, individuals who have a higher education, who can work remotely, they kept their jobs, but the lowest wage workers lost their jobs. Let me know what you think of this data in the comment section below. You'll find a link to this incredible article from the Wall Street Journal in the description section below, so you can check it out for yourself. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you learned something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please subscribe and please enable notifications. The name of our channel is Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, check out my video. You'll learn a little bit more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. I have to tell you, I have the honor, the privilege, the fortune of living the American dream. I want to be very clear on our channel. It's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American first, as we all are. Remember, you can get on our SMS list. Just get your cell phone out. Send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000. You'll get added to SMS alerts list. You'll get breaking news and alerts if we release any programs, and if you're interested in those programs, you'll be notified if you're on the list. Also, you can get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you can get added to our email list. You can opt out of the email list or the SMS list at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. So please make sure you get on either list. Now, keep in mind that we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time. Sometimes YouTube does not send out notifications on time. So all you have to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. This way, you can visit the home page of our channel and you can then watch any video at any point in time that you want without having to be dependent on YouTube notifications. So you may want to do that. Speaking of notifications, follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. Follow us on Instagram for exclusive content specifically for our Instagram followers. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. You'll get breaking news and alerts from us on Twitter. If you learned something new from this video, once again, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications, because that would mean a lot to us. That is your vote of confidence in us, and that tells the YouTube algorithm that you found the video beneficial. Please share this video with friends and family. You know that we don't believe in hype. This channel, the Ignition Time channel, is not about false hope. It's not about hype. I have a lot of respect for our viewers and subscribers. I know you can handle the truth. I give you the truth. I'm not going to string you along or essentially give you any false hope. I'm going to let you know what is important as far as the country is concerned, as far as the economy is concerned, and as far as your money is concerned, because what's going on in the country affects the economy, and what's going on in the economy affects your personal finances, your wallet. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel. And finally, please comment below. Our community is growing. It's very intelligent. It's very bipartisan. You'll probably make some new friends in the community. We are highly respectful. Make sure to become a part of our community. And also, you'll find a link to all of our resources in the description section below. That's one thing that is a standard in our channel. We'll always provide you with a link to all our resources so you can check them out for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.